And welcome back to another episode of 52 Authors in 52 Weeks, our 30-minute growth session. Today, I have with me Dr. Jasmine Agnew, who is a powerhouse health informatics, health information management professional, and the author of Turn It On 10, Unleashing the Power Within. Hello, Dr. Agnew. How are you?
Hello, Dr. Campbell. How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready to turn it on 10.
All right, let's do it.
So, tell us a little bit about how Turn It On 10 came to be.
Absolutely. So imagine that there's a meter on your life and it's marked from 0 to 10. If you're at 0, that means you're sitting still. You're not doing too much, not a lot of activity. But as things begin to happen, that meter begins to rise. When you get to about 5, you start to see some changes, and you're about halfway there, halfway to meeting your goal. Then, as you continue to evolve, you continue to move toward your goal, you get closer to the top, and 10 is at the top. And so once you reach the top of that meter, that is when you are at your best self. That is when you have developed fully, professionally, and personally, and doing your very best. The goal is for you to break the meter. So when I say turn it on 10, that means that my goal is to strive to be my very best self and then to go above and beyond once I get to the top of that meter. And so one of the things that I always tell people to do is that keep that picture of that meter. And even if you have to get a red pencil, color it in. Every day you get closer and closer to your goal. And the goal is for you is to blow the cap off the meter. And that's in life, professionally, personally, spiritually, emotionally, everything, to be your best self.
I love that. I am a reader. I was just telling another guest from the previous week that I am a person who is constantly reading because I believe I should be learning faster than I'm growing. And so I'm constantly in this learning mode. And when I read your book, one thing that was really caught my eye where you talked about the significance of the number 10. And when you mentioned the Olympics and all of that, I was like, I never knew that. And not that I watched the Olympics religiously, but I never knew that. But when I started to think about the significance, it really resonated with me. I also like the fact that you have a biblical foundation to the book, which really flows nicely with my guest from last week. My guest from last week, April Griffith, talked about taking God on you with the journey from a fitness perspective. And
Mm-hmm.
so, it being January 2024, many individuals have had a rough, let's just say, last 3 to 4 years. The pandemic, after the pandemic, all of these transitional changes that are happening in organizations, toxic workplaces. And so, Turn It On 10, I see this as a guidebook that is relevant today, even though you wrote this 4 years ago.
Right.
And I love the fact that you talk about going from one level to the next and how you're kind of renewing your strength and renewing your faith. In the book, you talk about this is a personal invitation to turn it up on to, I said, turn it up, turn it on to 10. What have you found to be the most valuable in this journey to getting from 1 to 10?
The most valuable thing for me is always keeping that memory in my memory bank of when my meter wasn't on 10, of how I felt when I was on 0. And just to give you just a quick glimpse into my life, I remember being 17, sitting at the table at my grandmother's house, and 17, pregnant, and hearing her say, you've embarrassed your family. You're not going to do anything. You're probably going to be stuck here in your mama's house working at McDonald's or somewhere. And there was something in me that said on that day, show the people that said you can't, that you absolutely can. And so I've taken that with me, and every goal that I set for myself, it is my mission to always strive to give it my all, to give it my best. So when it came to me, even when it came to milestones, when it came to me completing my associate degree, I was determined that I was going to get that associate degree, even though that wasn't all of the education I was going to get. At that time, that was my goal. And I was determined to meet that goal because I always had that in my memory bank. Let me show you what it looks like to win. When I decided to go back to school to get my baccalaureate degree, let me show you what it looks like to win. And every time that I met goals, and even when it came to goals that I set for myself outside of just my education, most recently, I had ended up having to have brain surgery because of extreme weight gain that caused other health issues. And they told me that if you don't lose this weight, we're going to end up having to go in and put a shunt in. I was determined that I was going to win, and I've lost 85 pounds since May because I was determined to win. I was going to show these doctors that didn't think I could do it without surgery that I absolutely can. And so even when it came to when I was in pastoral ministry, when they would send me to these small churches that maybe had 2 or 3 members that were active that would come, my goal was to come in, not worry about the number, but worry about the quality of the message and teaching discipleship, and then to watch that congregation grow. So much so that 2 years in a row, I won a Pacesetter Award for the growth and the ministry implemented in that church, in that size of congregation, that went from about 2 active members to a church that was packed full every Sunday, because I wanted to show you that I could win. And I heard that voice always saying, show the ones that say you can't, that you absolutely can. And that's the key to turning that meter up on 10.
Oh, I love all of that. In the book, you talk about your purpose has to trump your preference.
Oh, yeah.
It was powerful. So listen,
Yes.
let me tell you about me as a reader. As a reader, I am in a learning mode. I'm highlighting, I'm writing notes in the margin, and I'm learning and growing. And step number one is to figure out who you are. And I think a lot of people don't know who they are. They don't know whose they are. And
Right.
they allow themselves to be held hostage by other people's beliefs of what they should be doing or who they are.
Absolutely.
And some people get stuck in that space and never succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad because oftentimes, and in your case, it was the case, it's those that are the closest to you that are planting these unhealthy seeds. And if you are not strong enough, you will fall victim to who they say you should
What
be.
they say you should be. Yep. Linda Turcuse, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She said it best. After all, a woman lives what she believes. If you believe that you can, or if you believe that you can't, in both cases, you're absolutely right. So we have to believe that we can.
Every day of the week. I like to say I wake up with my boxing gloves on every
Right.
day because once my feet touch the floor, I've lived to fight another day.
Absolutely.
And many people's feet did not touch the floor today. And so I ought to be excited about my future, because if
Mm-hmm.
I'm allowed to see it, that means I was purposely designed to see it.
And I left here for a reason.
Yes, absolutely. So
Right.
when you were writing Turn It On 10,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of like a memoir because you talked about your educational journey, being a young mother, the awards that you gotten, like you were like taking up, like you had left out of the room, I think to go to the bathroom or something during a meeting, and you were getting an award. Do you feel like because you've been walking in your purpose, in spite of different situations, you keep winning, you keep bouncing back?
I do. I do. Because honestly, again, like you said, passion, purpose trumps preference. My preference, my desire was to go to college and major in agribusiness with a minor in animal husbandry. I was going to go to college and be a attorney. After I finished college, I was going to law school, and I wanted to be an attorney to represent Black farmers in Mississippi. And I also wanted to be a cattle farmer.
Mm.
Sure is a whole lot different than what I'm doing right now. But that was my preference. That's what I want to do. And even now, I'm still a country girl. I've watched TV shows on National Geographic and other shows about them birthing cows. Don't
Wow.
ask me. I do. But my purpose and my reason for being here is to show other young women how they can change their life and to change their trajectory through the power of education. How learning, and it's not always learning in the classroom, it's
Yeah.
educating yourself about life, educating yourself about what can be and what you can do, about transferable skills, about the trifecta of networking, certifications, and learning transferable skills and how it can help you, how important social capital is. And it ain't always about what you know. Sometimes it's about who you know and who you can reach out to and who will lift you up as they rise. And so my preference would have been to be somewhere back in Mississippi, walking that land that we have in back of my mom and daddy's house with plow boots and camouflage on, or riding a tractor. However, my purpose is to educate. And whether I am teaching Bible studies about exegesis of Old Testament text, teaching somebody how to do a shadow, eyeshadow palette, or about health informatics, my goal and my purpose is to educate.
You know what? It's funny you brought up that makeup part because I said makeup, ministry, education. But to me, it appears that you're following your own steps because step 4, you talk about investing in your dreams.
Right.
And I love that you mentioned that everything is not about a 4-year degree because not everybody was meant to go to school for a
Right.
4-year degree.
No.
So understanding that you could have a very comfortable life being a celebrity makeup artist or just a makeup artist in general, because my goddaughter is a makeup artist. And, at 95, 100, $200 for one application, that's a good living.
It is.
And you have the ability to create art, right? When you're making up someone's face for a special event, you're contributing to their overall look. And when you have a good beat going on, you feel good. You look in the mirror,
Mhm.
you're like,
You do. I learned how to do makeup because one of my best friends was diagnosed with breast cancer. Before she started chemotherapy, she had long, beautiful hair, long black down her back. And of course, losing her hair was a part of her journey through breast cancer and chemotherapy. But she never really wore a lot of makeup before. And so after that, she said, I want to learn how to do makeup. And I said, we're not gonna learn how to do makeup to hide. We're gonna learn how to do makeup to enhance. And so she and I both actually went through the training to learn how to do makeup. And I ended up actually hosting classes called Makeup and Mimosas in my house. And women would pay to come to the house and I would teach them how to do makeup to enhance their natural beauty. And it was lots of fun. And then COVID hit and we couldn't have any more fun Saturdays with mimosas and homemade snacks. But it was good. Another teaching opportunity. Another
I
time
love
for me to educate.
I love that because so many women struggle with putting on their own makeup. Like, I'm not an expert, right? But I know how to do a nice look.
Yeah.
If I'm not, if it's not a real big event, but just looking at the transformation is just
Mhm.
something powerful. And especially if you have that self-love inside, the makeup just adds
Mhm.
to what you already have.
Mhm. For sure.
So let's talk about step number 4 or step number 6. We already talked about step number 4. Step number 6, grow up.
Stop playing. Stop complaining. Okay.
So listen, as a mother of girls and boys, we always talk about how the girls mature much faster than the boys, and how, it takes them a long time to come around. But one of the things I have found, and you kind of talk about this in your book, is that mature means that you've reached this stage, right? This advanced stage. It's
Mhm.
like cancer spreads and metastasizes to this advanced stage. But what was the concept behind grow up? Get your stuff together.
Get your stuff together. Stop making excuses. We all have had, because I'm guilty. I can tell you. The same way that I heard that voice telling me that I wasn't gonna do nothing. When I didn't do well, I always wanted to refer back to that and say, well, they said that I wasn't going to. And I really had to like let that go. Like, let that go. By now, that baby 10 years old. Uh, let's come on and move forward. What you're experiencing now, it may be a setback, but it is not going to stop you from getting to where you need to go. Get up, dust yourself off, and keep moving. Life is not going to be easy, but it is definitely something that we can do when we not only have faith, but we also surround ourselves with people that support us, and people like me that will tell you, I love you, but get yourself up and get yourself together and let's go. Um, and growing up, it means just reaching that age of maturity, not only just biologically in your age, but even growing up in your mentality and your mindset. It's all about how you think. It's all about what you're looking at. You can look at a situation, and even though it may look bleak, find the goodness in it. One of my favorite scriptures, Psalm 27:13, says, I am convinced of this, that I will see the goodness of the Lord while yet in the land of the living. And every time I'm in a situation, even if it does not seem like the best, I say, okay, God, even in this situation, show me the good. And if I can do that, it will help me become mature, and it helps me to grow up and keep pushing, even when I want to throw in the towel and be like, you know what, I really don't think I want to do this. I'm still waiting. I'm still moving, still striving, still turning up the meter to get to the good.
And as you mentioned in the book, sometimes you have to encourage yourself.
Sometimes you do, and you cannot depend on other people to do it for you. Pat
And
your own self on the back.
yeah.
Celebrate your own wins. One of the things that I'm talking about in my new book, and we'll talk about that in a minute, is it's okay to make it a big deal. Every win, every time, even if it's just a matter of you walking up the steps instead of taking the elevator, even when you eat half of the donut instead of a whole donut, even when you read the whole scripture, not the whole chapter instead of one scripture, it's a win. A win is a win. Make it a big deal. Celebrate your wins. Encourage yourself.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think a lot of times people focus on being perfect
Mm,
as opposed to making progress.
right.
And it's actually selfish to try to be perfect because nobody's perfect.
Nobody's
But
perfect.
every little step that you make towards that goal, even if you have a setback, because really sometimes the setback is a setup for the
Mhm.
next level. And I know that because as a young mother myself, I wasn't 17, I was 19 or a month before 19. I had a lot of situations where if I did not have a growth mindset, they would have taken me out because I had people in my ear that were just like, you are who they say you are. But I realized that I will believe a different report and it was not theirs.
Mm, it
So
will come.
yes, so people are what's that crabs in a barrel syndrome? Sometimes people want you to stay where you are,
Right.
and that's why you got to separate yourself.
Exactly.
So you mentioned a new book, but Turn
Mhm.
It On 10 is not your only book. What other
No.
books have you written? And let me just tell everybody, because I am a promoter of books. Even though I wrote my own book, I'm in the process of writing another book. What I love about this book, for those of you who are not, avid readers, it's a short book. At
Mhm.
the end of each chapter, there's an area for you to write and reflect. And that's so important. You have to take the time to become self aware of who you are. And it's January 2024. Who you are, what do you want to do? And start taking those baby steps, investing in yourself, striving for that win. There's going to be some losses. but those losses are learning opportunities to grow and go to the next level. So what are
Right.
some other books you have?
All right, so my other books, the first one is Ministry of Womanhood, Pieces Along the Way. Pieces Along the Way are several journal entries over years. Some of them you could read and you could feel the naivety. Like I was a country girl from the middle of nowhere. And then you could see as I evolved and how my opinions changed and things that I experienced. Um, but a lot of the people that read it said, wow, this sounds just like me. And so there were some things, some learned, some shared experiences um, that were put in the book. And so it's really personal. That's my very first book. The third book, The Family Untied. That is a book that I wrote with my son. At the time, my son was a senior in high school. And my son loves to write. And we wrote a book that was about an affluent Black family in Birmingham, Alabama, that was, very well known around the area, but had really dark secrets. And we told the story from the perspective of both people. So, like, you would hear the perspective of the wife, but then you would hear the same story from the perspective of the husband. You would hear the story from the daughter, then you would hear from the husband. We had two married couples, then we tell the story of a daughter, and then we hear the story of, her relationship. And so it was just sharing, and it was so relevant in talking about things that we see in our African American family. Things that I saw in my family, things that I've seen in other Black families, a lot of the cultural issues that we experience. I mean, just whether you're from the country or from the city, just some things that happen in our family that we don't talk about. But we talked about it in those books. And we enjoyed writing that. And the book that is coming is called Oftentimes Amazing. And what it talks about is that sometimes we are afraid to be our best selves. It's kind of like a continuation of Turn on 10. But it'll talk about the blessed flex and about us being a light on the hill. God didn't make you a bright light for you to put something over you to shine to hide your light. He put you on a light so somebody can see you and he'll be glorified. The key is glorifying him. And so I want for everything that I do, the work that I do, the philanthropic missions that I have, my organization that I started that I love to talk about, I want it to be a reflection of who he is for me and not who Jasmine is trying to be independent of him. The organization is called BAE, B-A-E, and it stands for Boldly Advancing Equity Through Education. And what we do is we work to help young women that are graduated from high school that want to pursue higher education but need direction. Where do I go? What do I want to do? And then offer the scholarships to help them pay for school or pay for books. And then for women that are finishing associate degrees or undergrad that want to go on and pursue either a baccalaureate degree or a master's degree that need the same type of direction. Also doing workshops for women to learn how to do interviews, resume preparation, what to wear, and even, taking donations from women of like suits and shoes and things that they can wear to these interviews. So that is what the book Often Amazing is about. It's all right. The blessed flex is all right. Just remember where your power comes from, where that goodness and where that light comes from.
That's
So
why the end of Turn It On 10 was unleashing
unleashing
that
the power.
power.
Right.
What I love about that closing to the book was that you basically are saying, all right, I've given you these 10 steps. You've had an opportunity to reflect on the steps, things that you need to work on, invest in, and now what's next? You didn't leave them hanging.
Right. What you gonna do? And by
What you gonna do
now,
next?
what you gonna do next? And so now, once you've met these goals and you've seen these things come to pass, this manifestation, how are you going to use that to glorify the Most High?
And given that it's January, people have these New Year resolutions, but I
Absolutely.
think that Turn It On 10 is a journey. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not just about 2024, but it's 2024 and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
What will you unleash inside of you to not only help you grow, but help your community grow.
Right.
And what I love about you sharing your story about having a baby earlier in life is because you came from a place, and I'm quoting you, honesty and transparency, which helps someone else. What we go through is not for us, it's to help each other because we
Right.
made it through.
Right. Because
So
there was a lot of shame there for a while because of, listening to the voices of other people.
the
But it got to the
naysayers.
point, the naysayers, because honestly, ministry was a part of my life too. And it was almost as if, as clear as you and I are talking, it was just like the message was so clear. What you're going through is to help somebody else that's going through the same thing. So when I was a single mother, I was able to reach out and witness to other single mothers of what they were able to do in spite of, they're having to raise their babies on their own. When I was in a marriage that ended in divorce because of emotional abuse and often sometimes physical abuse, I was able to reach women who were oftentimes trapped in those situations about how you can get out and how you can overcome. When I went back to being a single mother, trying to raise a child and then trying to juggle school and work and find balance, I was able to reach out to another group. And so it's like for every level where I was able to reach, every time that meter started over, it was like I had another group of people that I was able to reach out to and able to minister to. And for that, I'm eternally grateful for that.
I love that
So,
everybody needs community.
oh yeah,
You cannot navigate this world alone.
absolutely.
And I talk about this, something that I'm not going to say happened to me, but I was probably between 20 and 22.
Mm-hmm.
And I had decided on this particular day that I, as a parent of a single parent, special needs child, who I was raising by myself, because her father said, I don't know how to raise a special needs child. I'm like, newsflash, neither do I. And none of these kids come with a user's manual. It's not like I was delivering a car, right?
Right.
But one day I decided that I was not going to be here anymore. And it took me 49 years to tell that story. And so many people have said, thank you so much for telling us about your journey. Because people see you and you made up, you nice clothes on, you got your hair certain way, and they think that you don't look like what you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because it's in the past. It's in my rear view mirror.
Right.
And I'm not looking back. I'm looking forward.
Right.
So it's so good that you are encouraging everybody. And for those of you who are wondering, this is not a book for women, not a book for men, not a book for black, white, purple, green, yellow. This is for everyone who needs to unleash that power. Because it's in each of us, but we have to take that first step,
Right.
that first meter to unleash it.
Right. That first step. And you just got to make the decision that that's what you want to do. Just a quick story, because I know we're getting short on time, but I teach at another university. That university has certificate programs, an associate degree, bachelor's degree, and a master's degree. I have students right now that came in and said, I just want to get a certificate so that I can just get a job coding, working from home.
Making $80,000 a year.
Right. Some of those students that started out with that small dream are now working on their master's degree because they said, I read your book and you showed me that if I believe that I can, that I absolutely can do it.
I love it.
And two of them met with me last week and like, tell us about the doctoral program because I want to be a doctor just like you. Well, come on, let's go. Let's do it then. But
I
it's
love
all about
it.
having somebody that tells you, show the people that said you can't that you absolutely can.
I love it. Listen, say it one more time for the people in the cheap seats.
Show the people that say you can't that you absolutely can.
I love
Put
it.
on a t-shirt.
You know
I'm
what?
gonna buy it.
That needs to be a hashtag
Yeah.
because there's so many people who are being told that they're stupid. They're never gonna be anything. You know that, oh, your mother wasn't nothing, you're not gonna be nothing. You live in this community, just all the things that's holding people back. when we really should be encouraging them that you can do it. You don't have to be a victim. You can
Right.
be victorious.
Right.
Well, listen, it has been a pleasure having you on today. I am hopeful that many people will be purchasing your book. Other than Amazon, is there another place that they can get the book from? Because I found it on Amazon, but where else can they get it
That's
from?
where it is. It's on
Okay,
Amazon.
everybody know about Amazon.
That's
Amazon started with a dream.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's a big dream that came to fruition.
Yep. But it is definitely on Amazon. I had some in my closet, but I ended up going to like a church function and sold them all. So I think I
Oh
got
yes,
one,
I know
two.
about
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, so
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
thank you
I
for
wish
having me.
you much success and
Thank
keep
you.
turning it on 10.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.